What's up everybody, my name is Kaz and today we're going to be reviewing Halo the TV series episode 1 and 2 for season 2. And honestly, it's going to be more of a complaint video more than a review because it was actually quite bad. Some scenes were okay to watch, like obviously the combat scenes, they look really good. The combat scenes are epic. I really think that's what brings this show together, is when combat is present. But honestly, mostly everything else does feel like a whole bunch of different ideas just bunched up together in an episode with no real good outcome, and sometimes doesn't really make sense. But for the most part, episodes 1 and 2 were kind of bad. I really think the dialogue between the Spartans is quite corny. Sometimes, like during combat, they say some things and it's like really, this isn't how a Spartan would typically act in a combat scenario. But other than that, I guess it's okay. I do not like how they portrayed Master Chief quite emotional, especially in episode 1 and sort of in episode 2. There's a scene where it reminds me of like Blade Runner 2049. You know, when you're talking to these AIs that, you know, care about you, because Master Chief talks to a sort of a therapist AI towards the end of episode 1, and I found that quite funny because this is not Master Chief at all in any form during this scene, and it's really bad. They do introduce a Oni agent. I guess he's the replacement for Catherine Halsey, and I do not like his character. I do not like his motives. I do not like his whole overall character. There's also a little moment, because there is a glassing of a planet in the beginning of episode 1. I know I'm not going from beginning to end during this review because honestly I want you guys to watch it because it is Halo. I do love Halo. But in the beginning of the episode, during the glassing of whatever planet it was called, there's like this psychic lady or a faith lady, I forgot what they call her, but she basically tells Master Chief, I have seen your death and it comes soon. This is reach times, lady. Like, you know how many things happen during the Halo timeline, and Chief is still alive. So I don't know how soon is soon for you, but Master Chief is still alive. He's still out there saving the world. So the fact that you say that before Reach was even glassed, in my opinion, is really bad writing. You just put something in the show that will really have no outcome, because if you plan on killing the Master Chief, then this show's done. This show's dead. But what is that called? Chekhov gun or something like that? Anyways, that was garbage. There's another spoiler. Well, as soon as I saw this, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. They introduced the grapple hook in Halo, the TV series, during the times of Reach. If I'm not mistaken, that didn't come well after till Halo Infinite, which was way later in the timeline. I know this is the silver timeline and it's their own thing, but it's like, at least try your best to kind of fit in the normal time and the canon timeline, because if you do that, you're gonna bring the original Halo fans to come together and be like, you know what, we're all gonna sit down and watch this show together. We're gonna all enjoy it. Because what's going on is, you made a show for people who honestly don't know Halo because you want to introduce them to Halo, but the ones who already been loving Halo for years and years and years, they watch this show and they're like, this isn't it. And then they just turn it off. So it's like, it's creating a little bit of a divide between true Halo fans and people who are now being introduced to you know, their first form of Halo. And I think it's going to be quite funny if they do, you know, for someone to watch Halo for the first time or be introduced to Halo for the first time, they sit down and watch the show, they end up loving it because they don't know how good the games are, or the canon and the real story of Halo. And if they end up going to play those games, they're going to be in a big shock to see the major differences between the show and the game. Okay, so there's another thing that doesn't really make sense to me, is the fact that, spoiler alert, McKee is still alive, and that's what's kind of putting the Master Chief off his game, and why he's like not mentally stable, and why Ackerman actually wants to, I guess, do some things. Like, he's trying to find his way to prove that the Master Chief isn't stable mentally for some reason. But and then he also gives the hint to John during a conversation of Master Chief is just a man in a suit. And the way it's implied is like, you're replaceable, John. But it's like, is he really? But we'll see how the rest of the season goes to see if that even becomes a thing of him trying to replace Chief because he's just a man in a suit. I could be off with this one, but that's definitely the vibes that I get when I listen to that type of dialogue and the way the dialogue is said and portrayed. Another spoiler alert, the Arbiter is portrayed in this time. I don't know why. Because Arbiter is already portrayed in the armor that he gets in Halo 2 in the beginning, after the events of Reach happened, and when, you know, the Arbiter is in front of the council, and so after the prophets send him off and, you know, he gets his mark of shame or whatever, that's when the prophets use him and turn him into the Arbiter. But in the show, Reach hasn't even been glassed yet, and he's already there with that armor that he got in the original timeline in Halo 2. I know it sounds like a whole bunch. I really hope they're not setting this up to where the Arbiter is the main enemy, and then maybe in the end of season 2 the Arbiter dies somehow, because it's like, bro, if you take that route, you just destroyed the Arbiter's character, in my opinion, because I love the Arbiter. The way the Arbiter is portrayed in the original games, you know, he's on par with the Chief. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the Arbiter just as much as I love Master Chief in the canon games and timeline. So if you end up portraying the Arbiter as this evil character, which he is in the beginning, part of the Covenant in the original timeline, but then he swaps over to good during the Great Schism and all that. But if you don't have that Great Schism and that character, you know, arc of the Arbiter understanding the truth and basically siding with the humans, and if you just portray the Arbiter as this evil thing and then you end up killing him, I think that might be a wrap, because you done pissed off so many fans. When they do introduce the Arbiter, at first I didn't understand why the Arbiter and the other elites that actually get in front of the Chief, because I don't want to explain too much of this, what the show is, because I want you guys to watch it. But during that moment where the Arbiter is kind of there with his sword out and the other elites with the sword out, I don't understand why don't they just attack the Chief, because he's in a vulnerable state at that point, kind of like an overwhelming state. Obviously the Chief can probably take care of it, but during that moment it seemed like with the numbers it would have been a real hard battle to win. But and then immediately after they get introduced, you know, to the Arbiter, the Chief, and the Marine that he's with, they disappear. And then immediately after the swords get retracted, the glassing of the planet that they're in happens. But it's like, it's so fast to where it's like, did y'all just glass yourselves too? Because in the games, you know, when you go into a Covenant ship, there's like this field, and then you float, and then you're in there. And then, and it's like, really? But and then later on in the episode, you also find out during that period of when the Chief saw the Arbiter, I guess he also saw McKee and heard some words that she said. I don't remember hearing that when I was watching the show, during the original scene. I don't remember hearing McKee or seeing it, but maybe I missed it. But later on, I guess that's when you figure out that's what Chief is thinking about throughout the whole episode. And in episode 2 is that he is seeing and hearing McKee saying that you should have stayed with me. But if I remember correctly, she died. But I don't know what they plan on doing with this story. Honestly, I'm hoping that the rest of the season of Halo the TV series is way better than episode 1 and 2, because in my opinion it's better than season 1 in its own ways, but it still has a lot of bad things going on for it. And man, I truly hope the rest of the season isn't like this. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Please like, comment, do whatever y'all want. Yeah, man, if you haven't watched Halo the TV series episodes 1 and 2 for season 2, I do recommend watching it again, because I like to support Halo in any type of way, because anything Halo to me is beautiful. Halo's like my childhood. Anyways, peace.
I'm feeling so blessed. All of them times with a pain in my chest. All of them times when my life was a mess. Now I'm out here chilling, not worrying about stress. Like Tony Montana. Remember them nights when I roll with the hammer. Shit pissed me off, big bro on this slammer. They started to hate because I got the glamour.